Is Muscle the man? Find out how the team is hoping to turn things around.
USC Baseball is climbing up the ranks at the right time.
And an exclusive interview with former USC point guard Caleb Padilla. All that and more coming up on Sports Scene.
Welcome back to Sports Scene. I'm Grace Schneider.
I'm Terrence Holton.
And I'm Casey Kasliner. USC Men's Basketball has a new leader at the helm.
We have high standards, high expectations. We feel going into the Big Ten, when you look at the landscape of college athletics, the Big Ten is as good as there is anywhere. And I'm coming from another place that was as good as anywhere in the SEC, and those two conferences, are proven to be where it's at right now.
The Trojans look to the SEC to replace Andy Enfield and hired Arkansas head coach Eric Musselman. Musselman, like Enfield, has deep tournament experience and a track record of getting players to the NBA. In the wake of almost the entire USC roster leaving, star guard Isaiah Collier, who's coming off a 16-point-per-game season during his freshman year, officially declared for the NBA draft on Wednesday. Expected to be a lottery pick, Collier saw peaks and valleys during his time at USC, but ultimately finished as a scoring machine during the final stretch. Currently, the only returning Trojans are Brandon Gardner, J.D. Plow, and Harrison Hornery. Hornery showed some promise last season, while Gardner and Plow rode the bench and barely saw the court. Gardner did deal with injuries that sidelined him for almost the entire season and will look to step into a bigger role come next year. Two transfers, UMass product Josh Cohen and UPenn guard Clark Schlackert, announced their commitments to the Musselman regime, filling in a couple of the plentiful roster spots. Cohen, a 6'10 big man, flipped his commitment from Arkansas, while Schlackert, a tried and true improving point guard, returns to his native city of Los Angeles. The roster is bare with 3 returners and 2 transfers. Musselman will have to make quite a few phone calls to court a serviceable team by November. Rebuilding would be an understatement for the current condition of this Trojan squad, making Musselman's stellar recruiting history all that more important. Musselman took the Razorbacks to 3 straight tournament appearances from 2021 to 2023, but missed the dance this past season. The Ashland, Ohio native even took Arkansas to 2 Elite 8 appearances, an accomplishment unseen in Fayetteville for decades. He's had various jobs in Southern California during his career and will aim to hit the ground running at Galen Center. So, is Eric Musselman the guy to lead this USC team back to relevancy?
I would argue that yes, he is, because if you look at what he's done both in his time in college, both at Nevada and Arkansas, he's had consistent success. And if you look just in not putting aside this year, but the last 3 years before that, he's made 2 Elite Eights and a Sweet 16. So I think he very much can do it, and he knows the Southern California area well, as he went to college at University of San Diego and has had numerous coaching jobs all over California.
100%. The Muss Bus is going to take the Trojans to the promised land. He had a #1 recruiting class at Arkansas in 2022. He's taken them to 2 Elite Eights, 2 Sweet 16s with Nevada and with Arkansas. He is going to take this team back to the promised land. I promise you that.
I think he shows some promise. I'm a little hesitant, but he did bring Arkansas back to relevancy. My main concern is that I want to make sure that he can utilize his roster. I mean, now our roster is looking pretty slim. We don't have that many great players yet, but he has already brought on 2 new recruits. It's looking a little promising.
I don't think it's a great hire. I think it's a lateral hire, to say the least. Look, what has Eric Musselman done that Andy Enfield hasn't?
2 Elite Eights.
Andy Enfield went to 1. Let me finish. He hasn't done anything that Enfield hasn't. He's a better recruiter and still hasn't been able to make it that far.
Here's the thing, though. Musselman has had more success than Enfield has.
He's made it to the same level.
But he's also won at a place in Nevada that is much harder to win than at a place like USC or Arkansas.
That was 2 teams ago. More recently in Arkansas, he didn't make it past the Elite 8. Andy Enfield didn't make it past the Elite 8. And look, he had better teams than Enfield. Better teams
because he recruited better.
Yeah, and still couldn't make it past the Elite 8.
Past the Elite 8? What are you talking about past the Elite 8? That's a pretty great accomplishment.
Pretty respectable.
So Andy Enfield's a great coach because he made it to the Elite 8?
He's a fine coach. He's not as good. He made it 1 time.
You weren't saying it was fine a few weeks ago.
He made it 1 time in 11 years.
True. I heard him say
Musselman made it twice in 5 years. What was it? 4 years?
Well, if you're not first, you're last. I mean, he doesn't have championship pedigree.
This is not Talladega Nights, Casey.
Well, this will be the ultimate test. We'll see. He has almost no players. We're starting from scratch. we'll see how he does.
Well, I think this first year could be a bit tough, and I think Trojan fans need to realize that right now. So just, if things don't go well, be prepared for it. But I think in the years to come, I can see him building USC into a very consistent program that's going to be nationally relevant in the years to come.
Okay, well, Crash Collier, thank you for joining us, our analyst who was at the press conference. USC freshman guard Bronny James officially entered the transfer portal as well as declared for the NBA draft after many rumors that he would leave last week. In an Instagram statement from James said that I've had a year with some ups and downs, but all added to growth for me as a man, student, and athlete. Whether he is in the NBA or representing a different college, the only thing for sure about James' future is that he will not be suiting up for the Trojans next year.
After 15 years, Coach John Calipari is stepping down as Kentucky's men's basketball coach. Calipari is a Hall of Fame coach, and during his time with the Wildcats, he secured the 2012 National Championship as well as 4 Final Four appearances.
The last few weeks, we've come to realize that this program probably needs to hear another voice, that the university as a whole has to have another voice giving guidance about this program that they hear. And the fans need to hear another voice.
With the departure of former USC head coach Andy Enfield to coach SMU, the Trojans found a fitting replacement in former Arkansas head coach Eric Musselman. In a surprising turn of events, former Kentucky head coach John Calipari will also leave the Wildcats to coach Arkansas, their conference rival. So what do you guys think about this crazy shift in college basketball?
Yeah, well, I think, it attests to just the basketball landscape we're in, at least for the men's side. It's the one and done culture, NIL becoming such a big part of it. And I think it makes, the landscape really interesting because, Calipari's, an established star, but, finishing short at Kentucky this season and the future for them is in question. So I think that the shift is really interesting, I think given the fact that we're not only in a shift from NIL, but also loyalty really in college basketball is not a huge thing, at least on the men's side, because guys are always transferring out. And, if the coach leaves, we saw with USC, we just talked about it, the whole team is plummeted.
Casey, I agree with you. I think in this day and age with NIL and the transfer portal, I'm not sure Calipari's style of one-and-done freshman is going to work. You have a bunch of guys who are playing against, they're 25 years old. You look at Jack Golke from Oakland, the star of March Madness, 10 three-pointers against Kentucky. He's 25. That is a future accountant right there. He is going to kill a bunch of 18-year-olds. It's just a fact. So I really think that Calipari's style doesn't really lead to wins anymore, and I think that that's why he went to Arkansas.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprising change to see. It seemed counterintuitive moving from an SEC team to a lesser SEC team as it is. But again, I think NIL is kind of changing the sphere of college basketball, and I'm interested to see if that leads other coaches to change as well. But our reporter Pickle Coleman had the opportunity to sit down with the USC Womens Basketball player coming off of an Elite 8 run. Let's hear what the star point guard had to say.
Today, I'm here with Kayla Padilla. She's a grad student and point guard on the USC Women's Basketball team. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course, happy to be here.
You just had an incredible basketball season, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But I first want to hear a little bit about your journey. I know you came from Penn, played there all 4 years. Why come to USC? Tell us about it.
Got it. Yeah. In a nutshell, I'm from Southern California, so this is basically home for me. And yeah, coming out of high school, I committed to the University of Pennsylvania, which is part of the Ivy League. And again, had always prioritized high academics, high basketball. But unfortunately, obviously with COVID, affected everyone in some sort of way. And for me, it eliminated one season, but it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I got to graduate from Penn, get an Ivy League degree, but also use this extra year of eligibility to play here. And obviously be a part of such a wonderful program and make an impact. And again, kind of return home from my last year of college basketball. So it was super fun to play in front of a bunch of family and friends, and obviously to make this historic run with this team.
I want to get into March Madness, which just happened. Yeah. Obviously, for the women's side, it started here at the Galen Center. What was it like starting at your home court, first of all, and then making it all the way to the Elite 8?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think just this year, women's basketball has kind of exploded, and I think that's to the credit of players like Juju Watkins that I've had the honor to play with this year. And that has really brought in a whole sort of another level of a crowd here at Galen. I think broken several attendance records just this year, so it was an amazing honor to be able to host the first 2 rounds of March Madness and kind of share this wonderful experience with obviously not only the team and the staff, but for all of our fans to join in. And I mean, like, it all just happened really fast. I think this team was just set out to do great things this year, and obviously that led us all the way until the Elite Eight, beat a lot of tough teams to get there. But yeah, just really proud of like how we were able to perform and really just put on for USC and put on for the city.
And then could you talk a little bit about your goals after USC? Like, what are you looking to do after your time here?
Sure, yeah. So I think my time with basketball is unfortunately coming to an end, but I mean, like, no better way to end it than obviously going on this run here and to do it with such an amazing team. But yeah, I obviously want to still keep active in the basketball community and obviously continue to support USC.
Yeah.
Have some teammates that are declaring for the draft, so
cool.
We'll have to live vicariously through them.
Well, Kayla, thank you so much for coming on Sports Scene. We were so happy to have you.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Pickle. What a season it was for Padilla and the Trojans.
Speaking of the WNBA draft, it's less than a week away. College basketball's current stars will make the leap to the pros and look to drive in a new era of women's basketball. 3 of the top prospects this year include Stanford's Cameron Brink, who led the country in blocks per game. Iowa's sharpshooter and GOAT, Caitlin Clark, who is the consensus #1 pick. And South Carolina's 6'7" center, Camila Cardoso, who led the Gamecocks to a win in the national championship. USC's McKenzie Forbes declared for the WNBA draft earlier this week, saying, "Thanks to my coaches, my teammates, and friends, and SC fans, that vision has come true. It's been a blessing to play in Galen this past year and become a part of the Trojan legacy forever." Caitlin Davis has declared for the WNBA draft after being a defensive anchor for the Trojans. Meanwhile, USC's lights-out shooter, Kayla Padilla, announced her career as basketball has come to a close. Davis averaged 6 points and nearly 6 rebounds on phenomenal efficiency. However, it will be her defense which intrigues scouts. Meanwhile, Kayla Padilla has decided not to pursue a professional career after averaging 8 points on 43% from 3. The WNBA draft begins next Monday at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, where Caitlin Clark is the favorite to go #1 overall. Make sure to tune in to see where the former Trojans end up. Next, Will and Thomas debate who the Trojan of their Trojan of the Week is, with another mystery debate as well. And a Trojan golfer will make her 3rd appearance at the prestigious Augusta National Golf Course. All that and more coming up on Sports Scene. USC football landed 3 more recruits this past week, adding to its already stacked 2025 recruiting class, currently ranked top 5 by most major recruiting sites. The new Trojan pledges are all ranked 3-star recruits by 24/7 Sports and include athletes Dwayne Morris and Harry Dalton III, as well as wide receiver Romero Eisen. Spring football has been nothing but success for the USC football program in 2024, and with the spring game coming up next weekend, the Trojans are cooking with gas.
Last Saturday, USC women's golf freshman Bailey Shoemaker finished 2nd at the 5th Annual Augusta National Women's Amateur. The freshman finished 7 under par across 3 rounds, but a bogey-free 3rd round propelled her to finish 2nd in the tournament. She finished 1 stroke behind the winner, Lottie Wode from Florida State. USC women's golf is currently at the Silverado Showdown. Shoemaker did not make the trip with the team because of Augusta. The Trojans are currently imploding without her. USC came into the day leading by 9 strokes, but were 10 over par during the 3rd and final round through 13 holes to fall into 2nd place. In 2 weeks, the Trojans will head to Pullman, Washington, and to chase their 2nd Pac-12 title in a row.
USC baseball secured a dominant win over UC Irvine on Tuesday evening for its 5th straight win. The Trojans are coming off back-to-back Pac-12 series wins over the powerhouse Oregon State Beavers and the struggling Washington Huskies. USC has now won 8 of its last 9 games, and some improving talents like infielders Ethan Hedges and Ryan Jackson have been slugging as of late. The Trojans lineup is filled with youngsters and veterans and is consistently pouring runs onto opposing pitchers. Recent success has brought USC up to 4th place in the Pac-12 following a dismal 0-5 start to the year. With a 3-game set with 3rd place Oregon on the horizon, wins will come at a premium for Andy Stankiewicz's bunch. USC will head north to Eugene to commence the series with the Ducks on Friday at 5:05 p.m.
Now for our quick updates on the many things happening across the country for Trojan athletics. The beach volleyball team continued their dominant season, sweeping the Pac-12 North Invitational, beating 3 top 12 ranked teams, including Arizona State, Cal, and number 2 Stanford. The Trojans now sit at 24-3, entering the Center of Effort Challenge.
In a 5-set senior night thriller, the number 13 ranked USC men's volleyball team defeated number 6 BYU after falling to them in 4 sets last Friday. Redshirt freshman opposite hitter Noah Roberts led the Trojans with the career-high 19 kills. Freshman setter Caleb Blanchette also put up 60 assists, another career high. The Trojans will conclude their regular season next weekend against number 7 Stanford.
USC women's lacrosse won its 3rd straight game, most recently taking a blowout win over the Oregon Ducks. The dynamic duo of Ella Heaney and Shelby Tilton combined for 8 goals to keep the team's momentum going. USC used a platoon of goalies to stop the Ducks' offense, which secured the Trojans' 4th conference win of the year. With just 3 games left on the schedule, USC will face Stanford before Colorado and San Diego State.
Now over to our feisty friends at the couch, Will and Thomas, who are our top Trojans.
Will and I have some young talent as our Trojans of the week this time around. We already talked about her, but my selection is Bailey Shoemaker of women's golf. She got 2nd overall at the Augusta National Women's Amateur, but it was her last day's score that was most impressive. She shot 66 in the final round, which was the best score by 3 strokes in the field of 35. This is a freshman shooting 66 on the toughest golf course in the country.
This week, Thomas and I are switching from the norm as I head to the baseball diamond this week to take infielder Ethan Hedges. In a week of red-hot offense for the Trojans, Hedges' bat was on fire. He hit 9 for 15 at the plate in his last 4 games, driving in 5 runs and hitting 3 balls for extra bases. His best game came just last night when he was 4 for 5 with a homer. So, Thomas, as a former caddy myself, I respect you hitting the links for Trojan of the Week, but why'd you make the choice you did?
To be Trojan of the Week, you have to be markedly better than other Trojans throughout the week. And Ethan Hedges wasn't even better than his teammates. Look at Ryan Jackson. Same number of hits throughout the week, same number of extra base hits throughout the week, and Ryan Jackson had more RBI. So if he's not even better than his teammate, how can he be Trojan of the Week? Especially when we see Shoemaker beat 3 of her teammates at Augusta. Again, as a freshman at the toughest golf course in the country.
I have to say I have a different idea of what Trojan of the Week should be, and I think it is consistency throughout the competition you have. She was outstanding on day 3. I'm not even going to try and deny that, but she did not win that tournament because day 2 she shot over par, not under par. If she just played even par,
Will, this is
she would
a
have won the
freshman.
tournament.
I don't care that she wasn't consistent.
Oh, no, you don't
She shot the best final round in that tournament's history. That is Trojan of the Week material.
You do not get to handicap based on what grade they're in. And at the end of the day, the Ethan Hedges slash line is absolutely mind-boggling. 600 batting average, 647 on-base percentage, a 1647 OPS. It was unbelievable. And Hedges' worst day was actually above average as well. 133 at the plate, a 333 average gets you into the Hall of Fame. Shoemaker's worst day was over par.
Okay, the thing is, Will, you look at where Ethan Hedges is getting these hits, and it's not in the most important spots. Let's look at that 6-2 win over Washington. It was Ryan Jackson with 3 RBI. It was not Ethan Hedges leading the Trojans to victory. It was Ryan Jackson. When Shoemaker got second in a national tournament at Augusta, again, shooting the best final round in that tournament's history, I don't know how you could possibly claim that Ethan Hedges is the Trojan of the Week, not even better than his teammates, and Shoemaker's doing this on a national stage.
At least Hedges' performance actually benefited a USC team. Shoemaker, this was an individual event.
What is this common argument of theirs? Shoemaker is doing this on a national stage. I don't care that it's not for USC. She represents USC
at USC's
on the
event
national stage.
In Colorado, they weren't able to do anything because she was out at Augusta.
Yeah, exactly. Shows how important she is to that team. But we'll move on from that debate, and we're bringing it back for a 3rd straight week. The people have loved it. We've loved it. It's a mystery debate. The producers are telling me, in my year, a debate that we have not had time to prepare for. So, Mr. Camaradella, we saw Isaiah Collier enter the NBA draft. What is the best fit for the star point guard in the NBA?
Best fit in the NBA? That's a great question. You want to take that one first?
Ooh, that's tough because he's a lottery pick, so he has to be going to a team in the top 15. I don't know if there's a great fit for him, truly. I don't know if he was that great in college. I personally think he should stay in college for at least 1 more year. We saw his stock plummet this past year, due to injuries, due to poor team performance. Honestly, I'm going to say it. I don't think there's any good fit for Collier in the NBA next year.
So you're saying his best fit is actually back in college?
Yeah, I think it's back in college. I think he needs more time to develop. I don't care. He had 16.3 points per game this year, which was great, especially for a freshman. But based on what I saw, he has a lot of maturing to do, especially with his passing. He tries to be a little bit too flashy. He needs more time to develop.
Yeah, you know what? I actually agree with you. I don't know if we're allowed to agree during this segment, but I'll be honest, that the fact that he was missing months at a time in the regular season. I mean, he came in, there was talk every USC game on broadcast and such that he was supposed to be a top 3 pick. I think that's pretty widely known that that's not going to happen. At the end of the day, he can make money at USC. The NIL collective is really stepping up. I think if he stays at USC under Musselman, of course, they can always come back.
When he declared for the draft, I don't think he maintained his college eligibility.
Oh, is that right? He didn't
you saw Bronny James do it, but Isaiah didn't. So he's definitely destined for the draft. So I guess I'll ask this question. Where does he fall in the draft, do you think?
I think in the mid-teens, right around that play-in lottery line.
I'm going to guess number 17. That's my official pick. But that is all the time we have for that debate. The NBA playoff bracket is solidifying. We break down the field next. And the chase to the Stanley Cup is almost here. Do the Kings have a chance? Coming up next on Sports Scene.
The NBA regular season wraps up this week, and with the play-in tournament beginning in less than a week, chaos is about to go down in the league. On Tuesday, the Clippers eclipsed the Phoenix Suns, securing a top 5 finish in the NBA's Western Conference standings. While they've been injury-riddled all year, the Clippers will need to continue to find ways to win as they look ahead to the playoffs. Last night, the Lakers' odds of making it out of the play-in tournament and into the playoffs took a hit after losing to the Golden State Warriors. Playing without Anthony Davis, the Lakers missed out on the opportunity to move ahead the Sacramento Kings and secure the 8th seed in the Western Conference. After Tuesday's games, the Eastern and Western play-in picture did not get much clarity. Several teams are still fighting to secure playoff spots through at least the first round of the playoffs, which will start on April 20th. The Western Conference is looking pretty tight with the Minnesota Timberwolves, Denver Nuggets, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, all fighting for the top spot. The LA Clippers currently sit at number 4, and the Lakers are among some of the teams likely to emerge from the play-in tournament and make a postseason run. So, Terrence, who do you think will make a run in the playoffs?
No, Grace, I'm going to go someone who no one's expecting to pick. I'm going to go with the Sacramento Kings.
Oh.
I love me some De'Aaron Fox, some Domantas Sabonis. Our good friend Will Simons was trashing on him earlier, but I'm a fan of Domas, and I really think the Kings are going to make a deep run.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Clippers. You know, they just won against the Phoenix Suns. They had a great win on Sunday against the Cavaliers.
Which you were lucky enough to be there to see.
I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. They showed their resilience. They showed how they respond to adversity. You know, they have a deep roster full of great players like James Harden, Terrence Mann, and Kawhi Leonard, given that he comes back, makes a full recovery. It's just something that you need. You need a lot of playmakers. You need to be able to respond to adversity to have a good playmaking team. And playoff team, sorry.
You know, Grace, I do love me some Terrence Mann, obviously.
Yes.
But I just think the Clippers are too injury-riddled to make a deep run. Obviously, there's the teams at the top, the Nuggets, the Thunder, all of that. But I think the Sacramento Kings are the sneaky little underdog. They're the dark horse to make a run.
We'll see, but if they get Kawhi back,
they are a very dangerous
it's all
team.
gas from there. And I was there. You're right. I saw Paul George hit that game-winning point to win it out.
Very lucky to see that.
Let's go Clippers.
Yeah. All right, now we'll send it over to Casey and Will at the couch to discuss some hockey.
Well, the NHL postseason is almost upon us with just a handful of regular season games to go. Welcome to a new segment called Breaking the Ice. In Southern California, LA's very own Kings have just about secured their ticket to the playoffs. The Kings' 4-game win streak ended at the hands of the Anaheim Ducks, but LA still sits in 3rd in the Pacific, making yet another playoff rematch with the Edmonton Oilers a real possibility. Kings winger Adrian Kempe has been on a tear since returning from injury and will look to lead a Los Angeles team that has struggled to ignite big runs.
Just 1 week separates us from the start of the toughest postseason in sports. The 8 teams that will represent the West are nearly set in stone, with the Stars in the running for the President's Trophy and Vancouver leading in the Pacific. All right, playoffs just a week away. We don't know what all the matchups were going to be. We don't know what the exact paths are going to look like. But if there's a team in the Western Conference you like to make a run, who would it be?
I really like Dallas. You brought them up before. In the running for the President's Trophy. They made the Stanley Cup during the bubble year. It didn't work out for them, but they've only gotten deeper since then. We saw last year Jason Robertson, an absolutely breakout campaign. And I'll admit, he's not having the same season as he had that last year, but the stars are so deep. I can't emphasize that enough. They have 9 players with 50-plus points. Their goaltending tandem, Ottinger hasn't been great lately, but Scott Wedgwood has really stepped up into that number 2 role. I think, this team from really lines 1 to 4 on the offensive front with Hintz and Duchesne, and just there's so many guys, Joe Pavelski, veterans and young guys are stepping up. I'm loving the Dallas Stars heading into the postseason.
They've got a lot of offense for sure, but I'm looking at another Central Division team. That would be the Nashville Predators, and I've been paying attention to what they've been doing in the front office, specifically bringing in Barry Trotz to lead the way from the GM spot. They've also got a new head coach, Andrew Burnett, one of his guys, and one thing about Barry Trotz teams, and this is a Barry Trotz style team, they are built for the postseason. 2 conference finals appearances, one was the head coach of the New York Islanders, of course, won the Stanley Cup in Washington. And one thing that makes this Nashville team a lot more similar to those Capital teams as opposed to the Islander teams is they have got an elite goal scorer in Philip Forsberg, 43 goals this year. That is a career high for him. They've got the sniper. They've got the structure. They're playing well at the right time. Give me Nashville. But Casey, an Eastern Conference team you like?
Look, I don't love the way they've been playing lately, but the Florida Panthers, they lost the Stanley Cup last year. A little bit different structurally than the Dallas Stars I brought up. Obviously, they're a team that is more top-heavy. Sam Reinhart is having by far the best season of his career. He's eclipsed 50 goals, and we'll see what happens to him over the summer. And, of course, Barkov, and between the pipes, you have Bobrovsky, who, recently has been a little inconsistent. The team sitting about 500 in their last 10 games, but Florida has consistently been, I think, the best Eastern Conference team all year. I know the Rangers right now would attest to that, and the Bruins, but I think consistently all year, Florida has just been top-heavy. Their forechecking is stout, and look, I love Florida going into the postseason.
Well, real quick, Casey, rock you like a hurricane. I love Carolina out of the Metropolitan Division. They have an elite penalty kill, great for a matchup against the Rangers. One of the best goal prevention teams in the NHL. They're top 3 in terms of goals allowed per game fewest. And how about the story of Freddie Anderson? Blood clots in his system, missed most of the year, has come back in 15 games, 12-2, 931 save percentage, 1.83 goals allowed. They're built for the postseason. But that will do it for this week's Sports Scene. For everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Will Camardella.
And I'm Casey Kasliner. We'll see you next week for some more sports debates.